Hey guys, today is Monday, October the 16th of 2023, and I wanted to go over the dollar. It's been a while I haven't covered it, so I want to take my time and just kind of show you what I'm seeing. And we're using probability. Make sure you know that. Not that this is written in stone, it's going to play out that way. But we're trying to get a roadmap, a guide, something to give us at least some indication of what could be probable. Probabilities. That's the name of the game. So with that being said, let's get into the charts. So this is the weekly chart. I'm using data roughly around 2000 to current prices. And there are three cycles here that are pretty good, but there's one that is the strongest. And the one that is the strongest is the 180 cycle. On the dollar, as you can see, it hit a peak somewhere around February the 13th of 2023. This cycle is down and hits a trough somewhere around October 7th of 2024, last week of September, first week of October of 2024, and then this cycle is up. I wouldn't be too concerned about this. I'm just telling you as of today's date, that's what's indicating, because this is going to fluctuate between left and right, because it's called dynamic cycle. It's moving and adjusting as price is oscillating back and forth. The second cycle that is the strongest here is the 392, which is this one right here. So we already know that there's one cycle that is down, and it's the strongest. Remember that. There's one that's down, and it's the strongest. The second one is 392. This one hasn't hit a peak yet. So could there be more room for the dollar to go up? Very possible. It hits a peak somewhere around January of 2024, next year, pretty much. So remember that. There could be more upside if it plays out, still using probability. The last cycle we have here is the 226 cycle. This one right here. This one just peaked somewhere around, you could say September 18th. You can see that you got this little bump right here and then another push higher, somewhere hitting around that 106, 107 and change. And now this cycle is down to November 17th of 2025. But, don't worry about that date. It's just somewhere around there. That's going to all change in the future. So what can we learn from the weekly spectrum cycle analysis? Well, there's one that peaked already and is down, which is the 180. The second strongest hasn't peaked yet. So you have one that still has more leg room to go higher using probability. And then you have another one that is already has peaked and is starting to go down. So you got two that are down and one that in January is going to hit a peak. Let's look at the daily cycle and see what we could extract there to give us some indication of what are the probabilities of the dollar continuing going higher or lower. Okay, so this is the daily chart, and I'm using data from, you could say, 2016 to current prices now. And there is one cycle. This one makes it easier for us. The weekly was a little harder, but we know that there's one that's the strongest, which is the 180, but the daily only has one that's pretty strong. You want to know what cycle is that? That's the 322, which is this one right here. We shift this a little back and you can see, it fluctuates. Peak here, bottom here, kind of went sideways. Little fake out right here, hit some stops, and then pulled right back up. So the low came in way late. It was indicating somewhere around May 9th of 2023. And it looks like you got this nice pop, like it just happened. And I've seen that a lot, where it's just perfect. That could, if this was this move right here, it would have been perfect. And I seen those looking at hundreds of charts. But you know what? Head fake, pulled back, got all the bulls caught off guard, hit some stops, and then really ripped. That's part of trading. It happens. There's no way around that. You just have to trail your stop. But that's the name of the game. And look, now it's following this cycle. So this is the daily cycle, 322. And when does it peak? As of right now, with current today's price and today's date, December 4th, somewhere around there, pretty much the first week of December of 2023, the dollar hits a peak. So let's recap. We got 2 cycles down on the weekly and one that still peaks on December. And then it goes down. It joins the other 2. On the daily, we have one strong cycle that hits a peak somewhere around December. The weekly one hits a peak somewhere around January, and we hit a peak here around December. Is it possible that the dollar could continue grinding sideways to higher and somewhere around December, January, top out, then go down? So the things you got to think about and question. Could that bring pressure to the metals, pressure to the currencies? Something to think about. But above all, price is king. That's the one you got to watch. So if you start seeing it take out 107 and it starts already at 110, 108, 110, 109, the probabilities are very high that it's maybe following these cycles. If it's topping off right here and it's kind of going sideways and is making lower highs and lower lows, and that's different. Maybe it's following the other 2 cycles on the weekly. But so far, the daily's up. And there's one more in the weekly if it's going to follow that. That's what makes it a little more complicated. If it was just one cycle on the weekly and one cycle on the daily, it's much easier. But you have one that's strong, that's already down. The second one is just turned down. And then the last one, the second one, which is a 3-something, is about to turn in January. And then you have one that just turned in September. So that's what the spectrum cycle analysis is saying on the dollar. So we just gotta keep an eye on the dollar and see what the dollar is going to do. If we could take out that high, it could continue pushing higher, or there could be a correction, and then somewhere maybe in November pulls in, and then continue ripping into January and December. It's very possible. So I'm just giving you some scenarios on that, just in case you trade currencies, which I do, or you trade gold or the dollar. Seasonality on the dollar. What do we have here? Percent of months in which the US dollar closed higher than it opened. Using a 5-year, you can see that October is pretty weak. September is pretty much the strongest. November is kind of flat. We got no data on the dollar. December. Let's go to 10 years. And it shows September strong, October strong, November strong, and December weak. Interesting. Very weak. But then January, pretty strong. But from August to November are the strongest using 10-year. Let's go to 15-year, see what we have there. You can see that December's still weak and January's kind of flat. And November's strong. Using 20 years, October is kind of flat. November's a little strong. December's weak. And January, yeah, just a little bit, but very close to flat. So December, the theme looks like it's like very weak for the dollar. And November, October's flat. So you could say November's pretty strong. December's always weak. November's strong. December's weak. October's kind of flat. 10-year. October, November is strong. December's weak. In the 5-year, once we get closer to where we're at in regards to our present, time, you can see that November is kind of flat. With October, a little pullback and nothing on December. So what I'm getting from this is that November, pretty strong. October could be strong, could be flat. And December, just pretty much weak overall. Okay, this is another seasonality chart I like to see. As you can see right now, let's see if we get over here. This is where we are with the dollar. Got a nice little high, little pullback. Looks like it wants to test this high again. If we had the 5-year average, you can see that it peaks somewhere around October 6th. And there was a peak here around October 2nd. And it kind of goes sideways on the 5-year somewhere until October the 24th. And then it gets this nice little bump to the upside. So keep an eye on October 24th for maybe a possible replay of that. Using the 10-year, you can see that we just kind of hit a peak somewhere around September 25th, maybe October 6th, maybe lining up here. And it kind of goes sideways to lower. And somewhere around the 16, which that is today, starts getting another leg higher. So the 10 years already giving you maybe the probability that maybe it could resume pushing higher, while the 5-year is telling you, it could probably go all the way down, sideways to down, all the way to October the 24th, and then move. Lastly, we had our 15-year average, and you can see that we hit somewhere around October 4th. And it kind of pulls back to the, 13th, 12th, kind of goes sideways. And then from the 18th, then it starts grinding higher. So those are the dates you want to keep an eye on from the 15, 10, and the 5-year average on the US dollar. So this is a commitments of trader report on the dollar. And the blue line is large speculators. The dark black line is commercial. As you can see, commercial hit a peak somewhere around, actually it was more August 7th of 2023. They hit a peak there in regards to hedging. The 3, 9, 10, yeah. Yeah, that was actually their peak. And then this is a double peak, so it's a fail new high. And from here, they started hedging. And you can see that the dollar was grinding. So the dollar put a low somewhere around July 17th. And they reversed and now are pushing lower. Hedging and large speculators did the same thing. Fail new low here. And now they're pushing higher. 19,477. The one you want to keep an eye on would be this right here. 24,064. 25.7078, 25.77.8, and where looks like it wants to kiss that. So far, large speculators are buying, commercial are hedging, so they're selling. They're somewhere around here. I like to see if they could get down to at least 27.952, 28, anywhere between 27, 28 to see if that's going to stall or hold right there. But so far, they've taken a lot of these lows out, and they're kind of close here. They're hovering on this one. But if they're going to push lower, that 27.54 around there is going to give you a lot of conviction that they're still hedging, that they could believe the dollar could continue going higher. But right now, they're kind of just stalling here. So we just got to see if they could push lower. That means the dollar's going to continue going higher. As you can see, we got this little pullback. They stalled. Large speculators are stalling. They want to see if this is going to rebound and push higher. If that's the price action, then they're going to push lower. So they're going to go in the opposite. Using our trend indicator, it remains on a buy on the monthly. As long as we didn't breach 155, that remains still on the buy. Let's look at what the news is saying about the dollar. Dollar longs versus yen get paid to wait for limited upside breakout. Let's look at the weekly real quick. Let's see what our trend indicator is indicating here. Let me see about the Elliott wave I have here. So I got a 5, I got a A, B, C. And if this is going to be a wave 1, 2, I don't know. We'll see. But this is a C here. I don't have anything here yet. Look at our weekly. And there was a wave 5 here. A, B, C, which maybe this could be C. And now we got this leg up. And it got a buy signal on the week of September 11th. It turned buy. That's a big way down there for risk. But the trend is, on the weekly, it's in a buy zone. As you can see, this was an ugly candle right here. So let's see how that's going to play out. Let's look at the daily, where we at there. On the daily, we got a buy signal somewhere around Thursday, the 27th of 2023, and has been trending pretty good. So this is a nice trend. You got like 2 days pullback. Here you got 4-day pullback, and then it rose. Here you got a bigger pullback. 6 days. So the higher it was going, the more people started unwinding. And then you got this bull kicker that took out all these guys out. Maybe hunting for stops. So now this is it. This is the battle. Can we regain that high? That's what this candle is indicating. See if the bears have it. And if it can't take out that high, a couple of things could happen. It could just go sideways here until it's ready to either explode to the upside or tank, or just fail right away. And you already know what's going on in December and January in regards to the weekly and daily cycle. If you forgot, you can always rewind the video and go to the beginning and see what's there. You can also see what happened in regards to seasonality with the dollar. What months are strong, what's weak, what's 50-50, what's flat, what's a little stronger. You can look at the video and backtrack there. But so far, this is what, and then on Elliott wave is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So could it be an ABC correction coming? A lot of things. Could that, is this A, B going into December, January, or maybe tank? Or maybe there's going to be a correction, ABC, into November, since November could show either, weak or strong. Is actually strong, and then get a nice little bump into December. November, December, and maybe turn. So those are a lot of scenarios there, but like I said, price is king. Keep an eye on it. These are your 2 levels in this low. We could take out that high, go higher. It's a fail new low. Watch it here because there's a lot of stops and it could just go down. So this is the battle zone right there. Okay, so this is the last chart of the day or this video. I'll post some more stuff on the dollar. Just want to kind of wet your ears a little bit with some technicals, some big picture. So if you can see, white candle, what's that? Nope. Trending, all white. It looks like it's trending on the yearly, so that's good. Quarterly, white candles, everything is trending. Over here, we got this pullback. The last 2 months, white trending candle, so that's positive. Over here, you can see that it's white, but interesting here on the weekly, I've added a TD9 indicator, and you can see on the weekly, we got a ninth candle right here this week of October the 2nd. We got a weekly TD9 indicator signal for possible turning point. We go to the daily and we got a TD9 knife daily candle, possible turning point. Interesting, on 2 time frames. So something to keep on your radar for a possible turning point using those indicators. Looking at volume, market profile, you can see that on the monthly, using 15 years of data, there's a value area high of 106.87 right here. We're kind of stalling here, having a tough time. So keep an eye on that level. Looking at a 5-year on the weekly, value area high is 107.85. We haven't kissed that yet, but over here you can see this kind of getting a little toppy, even if there's a leg up into December, January. Keep an eye on that. And also looking at the yearly chart, you can see that right now this is support, that 105.65. It pulled back from here, and right now this is finding support, and it got this little pop. Let's go now to our simple glance chart. So what's positive here in the monthly? We got a MACD crossover. That's positive. You're above the cloud, which is very strong and positive. That means the trend is very strong to the upside if you're above the monthly cloud on the Kumo. And if you want to look at what the cloud is looking like in the future, let's zoom out. There's a strong level here, and we were just chopping around right here and found support finally and got this breakout. Linear regression channels are pointing up, and you're broke out of the mobile bands, and you're above the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. So the trend is obviously up. Can it test that 114? Looking at this, it looks like it may want to. PPS buy signal in the month of September. We will see. Looking at the weekly now, we're in the cloud. When you're in the cloud, it gets wild with the big W. You could get some crazy swings because you're in the cloud. There's just a lot of volatility increases in here. So expect that when you're in the cloud. Once you get above 107, things could get a little smoother because obviously you're above the cloud. So the bulls will have more control, and price action wants to move higher. But once you're in this cloud, it's kind of contained, but like erratic, like very crazy. So keep an eye on that. You got a knife, TD knife right here. You got the strong level in the cloud. You got the linear regression channel. You could get toppy here, and it'll be healthy. Maybe get a nice little pullback, maybe to the mid, or maybe the purple, or maybe to one of the moving averages, whatever it is, and then maybe explode higher. But we're dealing with time, so you got to keep an eye on November, December, and January, because things are running out of time, and you got these cycles that are topping out, and you got two that are down. So there's a lot of things you got to keep an eye on when you look at this chart. Value area high is 107, so that's could get toppy right here. So yeah, and this is other level 107.15. What concerns me is we got a MACD crossover on the weekly. So on top of that, TD9 on a daily and a weekly, and you got a weekly crossover. So it could probably be where it could probably pull back, do a little divergence into November, December, January, and maybe pull back down. We'll see. But so far, that's a little red flag. That's for me when I see that on the weekly, it just tells me be cautious. And then on top of that, this very huge move, it's time for some, a pullback. And you're getting all these signs for maybe that could probably play out, but then see what's going to happen, for November and December. The daily, you can see you're out of the clouds, so it's looking good. And you got a MACD positive. Market sentiment is looking good. And this is the TD9 right here, and this is the range right now. 105.59 all the way to 107.36. You got a PPS buy signal, but it's very choppy, but you're kind of oscillating and dancing around the 20 SMA, but you're above all the moving averages. So this is one of those things is like, we're going to take out this low and maybe find support at the 50 and then go up, or we're going to just kind of go sideways and maybe retest this high, push or fail. Those are the couple of things you want to keep an eye on. Let's look at the midpoint chart. And I think that's it. I'll end it here. So what's positive here? On the yearly, you're above 104.70. That's the midpoint. That's very bullish. Once you take that out and go lower, then that's not looking good. But so far, very bullish on the yearly. On the monthly, you're above 105.03. That's very bullish. The highs of 107.34. On the weekly, you're hovering or above the 106.20. So that means it's gray. It's because, you're very close to it. When it's green, you're far away from it. So that's good. So you're kind of close to it here. In order for you to really get Momo, target to the upside actually would be the high at 114. So you're kind of very close. Once you start moving away from this midpoint line of the yearly, it looks like then it's on track to test this high. So this is the line in the sand big time. And on the daily, you're kind of red now because you're below the midpoint, which is 106.54. And so far, this low is right here from I believe Friday. And then if it wants to really push down, you got these levels to keep an eye on. But so far, it's pretty strong. Let's see if we could hold at least for this week 106.15. If that holds, that could probably be a nice little area for maybe another leg higher to test this high. So it looks like it wants to do that. If it's here, or maybe push lower and find that here and go up, or maybe a fail. You see if we could do a fail new low, and then from here go up. So these are the levels you want to keep an eye on for support: 106.16, 105.96, and 105.52. That's it for me. We'll probably do another video, look at geometry and stuff like that. But so far, this is just kind of the indicators and some of the seasonalities and the cycles. And I'll give you a part 2 in regards to the geometry side of it and maybe other Gann technique on the dollar. But keep an eye on the dollar. Very strong, very strong. And there's a lot of turning points in the future. See if those things are going to play out. Good trading, and I'll keep you posted on the dollar.